to go into some of the things that I think are really lacking in documentation and collaboration tools, these are really important for us to be able to work remotely. And CAD software is just a small, it is, sorry, it's not a small part of it, but it is dependent on these other parts being completed as well. So before I get into CAD, I'd just like to share where I think things could be improved with our other tools. So the Dazuki platform is okay, but it's pretty limited in terms of the formatting that happens there. And we can't have collaborative problem solving for support-based models. In Dazuki, not very well. Like, you can have comments, but it's not the kind of thing that necessarily attracts a lot of attention. So the beauty of the Dazuki platform is that they actually give us an API, and that means that we can still use their platform, but embed it in a different way into something like it, both an app and a web page, and we can then change the structure of what that's sitting in. So with their API, we can take their open manual format. That's the name of the method that they use of storing the data on the Dazuki platform. It's an open manual format. We have an API that can write to and read from that format, accelerate and gamify the process with which people can take pictures and submit data into that format. And for viewers of the format, we can also embed an open Stack Exchange-like platform, which already there are many variations which exist and we could integrate. So we've been trying to identify what people have already solved this problem and how can we do it efficiently. By embedding it in an app, we allow and have it accessible on a web platform. We solve the problem of collaborative support-based models, because at the moment with OSE, support is really dependent on one person, which is you. If someone builds a tractor and there's something that's got them stuck, it's pretty hard for them to find out where to go. But if we're all using a Stack Exchange-like platform that's so closely linked to the documentation and embedded in there, I think it would really help adoption there. What's more is, by using an app which can be advertised really cheaply on Facebook as a, whether or not it's, you could call it the OSE app, or at the moment, if we develop here, we're just calling it the Open Civilization app. We can use that to push information with push notifications once a week, and trying to make sure that quality of that information is really high. You get way higher visibility and a way higher chance of people reading that information than they do through either email or Facebook posts. So it also really helps for us to be able to get information out there and really improve our chances of getting read. On CAD, on the issue of CAD, that problem's been sitting with me for quite a while. It really would excite me to tackle this problem, but it's a serious undertaking that requires more resources than we currently have. To do it properly, we need someone with experience in graphics acceleration, C++, and preferably someone that has developed CAD software with someone like SolidWorks, with a group like SolidWorks or Autodesk Inventor before. Having someone like that to drive development as a project leader just makes sure that you're not wasting resources. At the moment, all of our coders haven't really had much experience with C++ and graphics acceleration. I have a lot of experience with user interface design and making sure that things like that are efficient and working in the right way. I have lots of really great concepts for where open source CAD could go, but we do need very experienced C++ and graphics acceleration coders to be able to do that with some idea of what the back end of a CAD tool like SolidWorks looks like. There are two people that I've met that could help with something like that. Larry Gritz, who works for Sony, who I've met, he developed Gelato, which is a rendering engine for GPUs. He's very experienced, but I think that to get him, we would definitely have to be paying him, and we'd have to be paying him until the project were to take off in terms of getting crowdfunding support. I think that the potential for getting crowdfunding support for this is huge if we execute it right. So I think that would be cool. If we were to get someone like that to make sure that we're developing in the right direction from the beginning, it would really help show something for the crowdfunding campaign before it started. I also know another guy, Prima Page, who currently works for Rising Sun Pictures. He's worked on a lot of Hollywood visual effects, and he has experience with C++, and he's written his own rendering engine. Having someone like him on board would also be valuable, but we would definitely need to be able to fund both of these people. Once I think we had two people like that to help drive project development, the sky's the limit with open source CAD. I mean, some of the things that I think we're really waiting for is an open source parametric file format. You know, at the moment, all software is reliant on using triangles to move geometry from one piece of software to the other. No parametric data gets transferred, so that's quite ridiculous, and we definitely need to advance that. With an open source parametric file format, it means that all of your objects and code can go to Git to represent any object. You can do deltas or diffs on different versions of, say, the tractor or a brick press, and you can compare version 6 with version 5 and see visually quite easily what the differences were between those two models, even what the differences were in the instruction sets with something like the open manual format. So yeah, that would be really exciting. With an open parametric file format, we can do things like have really efficient object repositories where we can drop modules into our CAD software efficiently, so that we're not making a different wheel hub design when we should be grabbing the same one from the tractor in version 6 or whatever it was really quickly. One of the other really exciting things about having an open source CAD platform that was driven really hard is it could accelerate open hardware development massively. You could do things like, provided people are making open source hardware, they get all the functionality of the app, full functionality of the app for free, not like what SketchUp do, where you have to pay for more functionality. I think that we should have all functionality available to people only if they're open sourcing their designs, so their designs are stored on the cloud, and they automatically come under a type of open source license, which perhaps we can give them options on what they choose. But if they want to use our open source CAD software, they would be open sourcing their designs. There is already PCB design software that uses the same methodology that's happening, that's in process of development. I can't remember its name, but if you wanted me to dig it up, I could find it. So that's a really cool thing that you could do. And if people wanted to develop but close off their designs, they could still use our software, but they would have to pay for it. And that could also help fund development. So I think that that's really exciting avenue for being able to accelerate collaboration and open hardware development while still being able to generate revenue for the app once it was ticking. Those are a bunch of the concepts that I've had for CAD so far, and I feel like that would be a really exciting roadmap that I'd love to be involved in, but it requires more resources than we have now.